What's going down? Thor and Brian back with our second edition of Does It Hold Up? We did one last week on Duke Nukem. That's up on the channel now. Check it out. This week we said let's change it up. Let's do not a video game. Let's do an anime. And let's do a movie. And let's put them together and do an anime movie. And I was like, well, let's pick one of the greatest ones of all time. It's a classic. It's still a classic. Well, that's what makes a classic, right? It's from 1988. You guessed it, Akira. Brian had never seen Akira. I mean, I've heard it pronounced a few different ways. But,
Right.
Brian's never seen the movie. I've seen it multitudes of times, but this was probably my least impaired I've ever seen the movie, if that makes sense. So we watched it yesterday in its 2-hour entirety. It's a long movie. I did forget that.
It never felt dragging, though, you know?
Oh,
even
really?
though how long it is.
Yeah, for me at points, there were points I was like, wow, this kind of drags a little bit for me. Like the pace wasn't what I remember from when I was younger.
Maybe that's the difference between several viewings and
one viewing. Yeah, because there's a lot going on. I mean, you never forget the story. You never forget like a lot of the things that when you see that. But I can speak on this movie for all day because I've seen it so many times. What you, as someone who's seen it for the first time yesterday, what did you think of the movie? What were what did you come out thinking?
Number one, crazy gruesome. You know,
Yeah, very graphic.
And I so it's not like I went in having no idea what this movie was. People have talked about it probably a million times. So I understood what I was getting into, but I mean, it's just like some of the scenes in the beginning when it's like the protesters are out and it's like the government's just like, okay, well, you're going to protest, blah, 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 blah.
Turning people into mulch pretty
just
much.
Completely, frying them and stuff.
The fight scene between the clowns and Canada and his group.
Right. His little biker gang.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it, obviously you shouldn't be watching this video. Go watch Akira if you've never seen it. Then come back and watch this video. But for me, I was introduced to this movie, I'd say, in the late 90s was the first time I saw it. So it had already been out maybe a decade prior.
I thought this one...
88.
88,
yeah. It was 1988 that it came out. So I would have been...
And it's kind of crazy how good the animation looks.
Oh,
considering how old it is.
One of them that definitely holds up was the animation. I mean, I remember at one point watching it yesterday, and the sheets looked so fluid, like a sheet would look. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was when, Tatsuo was in the hospital bed.
Right.
I think it was one of those scenes. So
well, and you could definitely, if you watch old, because I was rewatching old Dragon Ball Z episodes. And even that, you can kind of tell, like, they're old. The animation, which is a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a huge
especially old Dragon Ball.
budget-wise.
Watch old Dragon Ball. That feels old. This, you can tell is older just by, like, the colors and stuff like that, or kind of almost the lack thereof in some cases. Because there's a lot of colors, but they're not those, like, bright popping colors we get nowadays where everything's almost over-colorized. Right. They're very, like, subdued colors, but
should we mention
effective.
We're a year away from the future that we just watched?
We are a year away from when it starts. It's like April 2019 or something like that, and that's when it's taking place. Because what was it, 1988?
Right.
Atomic bomb goes off in Tokyo, so it's about...
No, that was Akira.
Oh, that was Akira, right. Akira exploded, which looked like a nuclear explosion. It happened in 1988, and then they're in, what was it, Neo Tokyo or something like that, they call it. And so like I said, if you've never seen the movie, we're not going to break the movie down for you, but we're just going to talk about like what we liked about it, maybe what did hold up or didn't hold up in some cases.
Was there anything you thought didn't hold up very well?
To be honest, no.
That's kind of how I was.
Story-wise, it's a classic story. You could remake this story live action, not do a live action version of Akira, which I think they are actually planning, but you could do a live action version of this story that would still resonate with people today. The animation, like we've already talked about, held up beautifully. I mean, it's still probably one of the most beautifully animated movies that I've ever seen. I mean, a lot of people talk about like the Princess Mononoke's and all the castles, but all the movies from that guy. I can't remember his name right now at this present moment, but they talk about all his movies. This movie, I think, still stands above everything else. That's why this is the gold standard when it comes to anime, and especially anime movies. Ghost in the Shell is kind of a little bit on that level, but I say this is literally the bar. This doesn't set the bar. This is the bar. So for you, what held up or what didn't hold up in your opinion?
Honestly, I think 90% of it, watching it fresh, I got as far as like, if this was a movie that came out yesterday, we're talking an anime that released yesterday, would I have been like, yeah, I really enjoyed.
If this would have been new to Netflix yesterday, you would have
been very happy with it. Honestly,
okay.
Yes. It's, tried to say something, which is always like fun when we're talking about like animes and getting graphic. It's not just graphic for the purpose of graphic.
Right.
All the characters were interesting or realistically.
Tatsuo and Kaneda were the most interesting. And that's the main gist of the story, but it does. Like, the story really does have a point of view to it that I think is powerful. And then you stack that on top of the story, on top of the great animation style, and the crazy powers and how they're used.
It was a fun movie to watch with another person.
Yeah.
Because we could say stuff, and it didn't... I think that's part of the reason why I didn't feel like it dragged or whatever, because there was breathing moments where I can be like, dude, they just, like where you're like, they mulched those people and stuff. Like, it didn't feel like a movie where if you said something, I had to pause the movie and rewind 5 minutes.
When Tatsuo starts going crazy at the end too, and he really starts flexing his muscle with the powers and stuff, and you just see this crescendo happening, and it's weird how he turns from like the sympathetic character to the bad guy of the story in a really interesting way,
and then comes back to the sympathetic
character at the end, where Kaneda kind of starts as like the brash leader, and then you almost feel for him at points. And then when it ends, obviously it ends and then there's that whole part with the girl who Kaneda is like following around, and her connection with the three little people and stuff. That there's, like I said, this is a multi-layered film with so many different intertwining storylines going on at one point, plus all the subplots in the background going on around it. I mean, it does take, I would say, a few viewings to fully appreciate, not fully appreciate the movie, but fully appreciate everything's going on and how it all intertwines into the end.
It's a good discussion movie. It's a good movie to be like, dude, so what did you think about, what did that mean?
Why do you think we picked it to do a video on for Does It Hold Up? Honestly, before we even started, I knew my opinion was going to be it holds up. I knew it because I could remember it so vividly. I remember it so well from all my viewings in the hazy days. But yeah, seeing it yesterday, it brought back a lot of memories for me. Like watching it yesterday.
His motorcycle is super sick.
His motorcycle is still the best.
When I look at
the best motorcycle of all motorcycles.
All I can think is, do you know those old classic toys that had like the basically like a striker in them or whatever, where the sparks come out? They could have easily did that with that guy, and that would have been sweet because that's what the front wheel does.
On here, it like lifts up and everything. I mean, this is a legit. I remember when I got this 2-pack with Kaneda and Tatsuo. Like I was like, no, this one I'm less interested in. But when I saw the bike, I needed to have the bike. It's probably the most iconic motorcycle in all of filmdom. I would argue,
at least anime, at minimum.
And oh god, I can't think of a motorcycle that's more well known than that. Maybe the Tron bike.
Yeah,
Tron bike maybe,
but it's kind of reminiscent of
that.
It is.
It does have the Tron bike style, especially with the lights, how they do the lights through the thing. And then watching this, I remember just a lot of different stuff. Like I thoroughly enjoyed our viewing yesterday a lot. It definitely holds up. Let us know if you think it holds up or not.
I would say if you haven't watched it yet, if you're in the same boat I would check it out.
Get a group of friends together and like maybe get a couple other dudes who haven't seen it and then watch the whole thing, have the experience together. It's much more enjoyable, like you said.
And
as
it's
like
still
a film.
fun to watch with someone who's seen it 30 times.
Oh yeah.
It's not a movie. Some movies I feel like if someone has already seen it, it kind of ruins the fun a little bit.
Well, that had been a good decade plus probably since I've seen it. Helped out a little bit because there were certain things even I was like, whoa.
Right.
And then like even the doctor, how he kind of has his own agenda going and they're all trying to bring Akira back, but Akira's just like a bunch of vials of things. It's just, there's so much goodness.
Side note, sometimes Thor is annoying when he's seen the movie 30 times and this is your first time because he's always like, I wonder what's about to happen with something. Not like sarcastically. He says it like he doesn't know. And I'm like, dude, you've seen this movie like 60 times. You know what's about to happen.
Actually, there were points I forgot. There are gaps in one's
Right.
memory, and there are some gaps around that film. Not around the beginning or the end where all the action is, but some of the middle story development. I could definitely see I didn't pay as close of attention in the old days as I did yesterday. So no, go watch it. Tell us what you think. Like I said, it holds up for us. Akira's a masterpiece. It's a classic. Enjoy it. Love it. Thoughts below. Like, share, subscribe. New videos coming soon. Deadpool Day.
Yeah, buddy.
Deuces.